right. Hey, Elevate. Thank you, Lexi. I'm going to just back this up a little bit here. Should be good. All right. Thank you for helping out. All right. Doing some artwork today, all right? Yeah, I'm quite the artist now. Hey, couple housekeeping things here. Those announcements might have been hard to tell, but next week, it's Next Gen Night. That's the last one of the semester. Come out for Elevate. It's going to be awesome. New fifth graders, they're going to be coming. Seniors, we're going to be honoring them. Ashley Powers. I feel like I was like mumbling. It sounded like ash powder. But yeah, she's going to be preaching that night. She's got a great message planned. I hope you guys will come out. Invite your friends, invite your family. It'll be an incredible night that you won't want to miss out on. And also Crash this weekend. Meet at the Millard campus. Don't meet here at Omaha. We will not be here. Meet at the Millard campus. Okay, that's all you need to know. All right, yeah, you can still sign up for Crash. Go online, www.sb.church. There you go. All right, here we go. Time for some artwork. You ready? All right, here we go. All right. Yeah, I'm really just going to write letters and stuff. Don't worry about it. Point A. All right. Point B. What is, can you guys see that? Oh, yeah, that looks good. All right. What's the fastest way to get from point A to point B? Straight line. All right, straight line. Everybody knows that, okay? Simple, science, math, whatever that class is. Simple science, we'll call it that. Point A to point B, fastest way to get there, straight line. I think that if you guys are anything like I was in high school, you have this idea in your head of where you are right now and where you want to be in 10 years from now, okay? So I kind of want to hear from some of you guys, where do you want to be 10 years from now? Right now, you're at point A. Where do you want to be in 10 years, point B? Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing in 10 years? Car, all right? Be driving a car. What else are you going to be doing in 10 years? Master apologeticist. We'll just say education. Yeah, college. That's awesome. I know you're not going to be able to read this. This is like chicken scratch, but just imagine with me. Yeah. Taking my job? All right, that's cool. Job. I'll find something else to do. It's all good. Hulk? You're going to be the Hulk in 10 years? That's awesome. Alcohol? I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss. You will be old enough to legally drink alcohol. You're not wrong. Kelsey. Happy. All right. Happy. 10 years. 10 years. Where do you want to be? Yeah. Money. All right. Boom. Money. What? Fancy? Dancer. We'll put that under job. Job. Professional dancer. That's a sweet job. Marines. Job. Put that under job. Anything that falls outside of these categories. Yeah. Married. All right. We'll just put a little heart right there. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's enough for right now. Alcohol. I'm dying. All right. Your mom is sitting right back there, man. All right. All right, so point A to point B, fastest way to get there, straight line. For me, I had this whole plan mapped out. I had this easy plan mapped out. Here I was in high school, and I had a vision for where I wanted to be in 10 years. For me, I would daydream all the time about my future. I don't know if anybody in here does that, but when I was in middle school, high school, for me, I was always thinking about the next big thing, my future, what it would be like, how happy my life would be, how great everything would be. And in my future, I imagined I was going to go to the University of Nebraska, play baseball. I'd get drafted. I'd go pro. You know, it was just in my head, this was all going to work out perfectly, okay? And everything was going to work out fine. In fact, you know, eventually they would say, wow, he's so good looking, he should do commercials. Oh, we should have him act in movies. I was going to be in Hollywood. And in Hollywood, I was going to meet my future wife. I was thinking, you know, I'd probably, I don't know, get introduced along the way to Hilary Duff or Lindsay Lohan. And I don't know if Katy Perry was around, actually, when I was in high school. Nope, she wasn't. Nope, sorry, I'm too old for that. But that was, you know, I had it all planned out. Point A to point B, and it was going to be like just the easiest straight line ever. But you know, when you live life, it doesn't actually work out like that. There's roadblocks that come up. There's different things that, you know, maybe a detour here or there. And your point A to point B starts to get a little rocky. It doesn't go exactly the way you were hoping it would. In fact, some of you in here, you are figuring that out already. You have had hard things happen in your life that you did not have mapped out in your point A to point B plan. You've had tragedy strike. You've had friends gossip about you. You've lost a loved one. You've had someone close to you get sick. You've been in a car accident. I don't know what it is, but you know something has happened along the way and things are not working out exactly the way you had mapped out in your head, point A to point B. For me, my dream in baseball, I kept getting injured every baseball season, or I kept getting sick every baseball season, and I started to realize, man, this whole point A to point B thing isn't happening the way I planned it to, the way I had dreamed it to. So what do you do when things don't go the way you thought they were going to go? What do you do when things start to get hard and difficult and challenges come up in your life? How do you handle those challenges? Sorry, I'll let you guys, later, you can come tell me, okay? But right now, if you guys got your Bibles, open up to 1 Samuel. We're going to look at the story of David, because David is a guy who he had his life mapped out to him, point A to point B, from God, okay? In Israel at the time, that's where this whole book takes place, Israel, there was one king, the very first king of Israel. His name was Saul. And Saul messed up. He did some things that went against what God had told him. And so God told this prophet, a prophet was just a guy that spoke for God, that would tell people what God wanted them to hear. He told Samuel, this prophet, go anoint the next king of Israel, because Saul, I'm done with. Saul's still going to be king for a little while longer, but I want to move on to the next guy. I want to anoint him and start having him prepare to be king of Israel someday. And it was David. And David was probably anywhere from 10 to 14, right in that age range, when Samuel comes and he anoints him and he says, God has chosen you to be the next king of Israel. He was right around your guys' age, and he found out where his point B was going to be. He found out at a very young age that you're going to be king someday. You're going to rule over all the people. You're going to be rich. You're going to have power. You're going to have fame. Essentially all these things that we value, that we think, man, I want to be doing all these great things in 10 years. God said to David, you're going to have it all, and it's going to be great. So David had his point A to point B mapped out, and things started out really good. If you know the story of David, not long after that, he went to this battle that was happening. He saw a giant named Goliath, and he said, I'll take him down. He took out a slingshot, knocked that dude out. Goliath is dead. David's a hero. And then not too long after that, he starts doing battles for the king. And he starts leading men into battle, and he starts winning all these battles, and he has a lot of success. In fact, all the nation of Israel, they start to look at David, and they start, chanting his name. They're writing songs about him. He eventually becomes more popular than the king, Saul. Now, David, he also gets a job working for Saul playing the harp. That was a really important job at the time, harp player for the king, okay? Sounds weird, different culture, all right? Yeah, you got it. All right, so he's playing harp for the king, and things are going really well in David's life. But all of a sudden, Saul, the jealousy is starting to take over. He's not very happy that all the people like David more than him, and he's starting to catch wind of the fact that David has been anointed to replace him as king someday. So what does Saul do? He starts trying to kill David. In fact, while he's playing harp for him in his courtroom, he throws a spear at David. Luckily, he misses. David gets out of there. He goes on the run. And all of a sudden, point A to point B isn't so smooth anymore for David. He's got some detours and he's got some hard things coming at him. He's got assassins on his trail. He's got to go live out in the wilderness in hiding. Point A to point B is not happening the way David thought it would. Some of you in here tonight, you know in your own lives that point A to point B is not taking place the way you wanted it to. You know things are not working out the way you thought they would. If you got your Bibles, open up with me. 1 Samuel 24, verse 1. So David, he's got some men with him. There's just a band of kind of warriors that they flocked to David when they heard he was on the run, that he was in hiding from Saul. They were loyal to David and they wanted to stay with him. And so they go into hiding with him and they're hiding out in this cave. Verse 1 here. After Saul returned from fighting the Philistines, he was told that David had gone into the wilderness of En-Gedi. So Saul chose 3,000 troops from all Israel and went to search for David and his men near the rocks of the wild goats. At the place where the road passes some sheepfolds, Saul went into a cave to relieve himself. But as it happened, yeah, he's going to the bathroom. Yeah, you can laugh. It's fine. Whatever. Yeah, ha ha. David and his men were hiding farther back in that very cave. So Saul, he sees a cave. He's like, man, I'm going to go to the bathroom really quick. It just so happens that David and all of his men are like hiding way back deep in this cave. And they see Saul come in and start using the bathroom. It's like, man, this is awkward, kind of funny. They're probably laughing. And now David's men are telling him, now's your opportunity. David's men whispered to him, today the Lord is telling you, I will certainly put your enemy into your power to do with as you wish. So David crept forward, but instead of killing Saul, he cut off a piece of the hem of Saul's robe. That's it. He's cut off a piece of his robe. He had a chance right there to avoid all the hardships he'd been going through. He had a chance to hit fast forward and get to point B. He could take Saul's life right then and there and end it. And then he could be king and he could start to live the life he'd been dreaming of, the life he wanted. But he doesn't do that. Why? But then David's conscience began bothering him because he had cut Saul's robe. The Lord knows I shouldn't have done that to my Lord the king, he said to his men. The Lord forbid that I should do this to my Lord the king and attack the Lord's anointed one, for the Lord himself has chosen him. So David restrained his men and did not let them kill Saul. What David is saying here is he's saying, no. It's not my job to decide when it's my turn to be king. It's not my job to kill Saul and take his life. He'll be king until God says he's done being king. Until then, I need to trust God and his plan. That's an incredible thing. Could you do that if you were in David's shoes? If you had a chance to hit fast forward and skip all the crap in life, to avoid all the hard times, all the painful moments, would you do it? Would you skip over it? Would you fast forward it and move on to point B and just get there and be done going through the middle? David had that chance and he didn't do it. After Saul had left the cave and gone on his way, David came out and shouted after him, "My lord, the king." And when Saul looked around, David bowed low before him. Then he shouted to Saul, "Why do you listen to the people who say I'm trying to harm you? This very day you can see with your own eyes it isn't true, for the Lord placed you at my mercy back there in the cave. Some of my men told me to kill you, but I spared you. For I said, I will never harm the king. He's the Lord's anointed one. Look, my father, at what I have in my hand. It's a piece of the hem of your robe. I cut it off, but I did not kill you. This proves that I am not trying to harm you and that I have not sinned against you, even though you have been hunting for me to kill me. May the Lord judge between us. Perhaps the Lord will punish you for what you're trying to do to me, but I will never harm you." As that old proverb says, from evil people come evil deeds. So you can be sure I will never harm you. Who is the king of Israel trying to catch anyway? Should he spend his time chasing one who is as worthless as a dead dog or a single flea? May the Lord therefore judge which of us is right and punish the guilty one. He is my advocate and he will rescue me from your power. David puts his trust in God. He doesn't say, I'm going to take hold of it. I'm going to do what I want to do, what I feel is right. He's not going to do evil to try and get to where he wants to be. I think so many times in life you're going to be faced with hard choices like that. Might not necessarily be to kill someone to get to where you want to be, but you're going to be faced with moments where you have to choose between doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. The wrong thing, it might get you to where you want to be in life a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. It might make you a little bit more money. It might get you a little more popular, but it's not the right thing. And when you do that, you're taking your trust from God and you're putting your trust in yourself and the world. Who do you put your trust in? Do you trust God or do you trust the world? That's really what it came down to for David here. When David had finished speaking, Saul called back, "Is that really you, my son David?" Then he began to cry and he said to David, "You are a better man than I am, for you have repaid me good for evil. Yes, you have been amazingly kind to me today, for when the Lord put me in a place where you could have killed me, you didn't do it. Who else would let his enemy get away when he had him in his power? May the Lord reward you well for your kindness you have shown me today. And now I realize that you are surely going to be king and that the kingdom of Israel will flourish under your rule." David showed grace. Where Saul had shown him nothing but evil and trying to kill him, David showed him kindness and goodness. He showed him grace. It's the picture of Jesus in the Old Testament. He gave Saul what he didn't deserve. Saul had done nothing but evil towards him, and David showed him kindness. There's going to be people in your life on your way from point A to point B that are going to show you evil. They're going to harm you. They're going to do bad things to you. You can't avoid it. In those moments, what will you do? How will you react to those people? Because in every one of those moments, you have a choice. You can choose to trust what the world says, and you can choose to do exactly what David's men were saying. Do evil, do what feels right to you. Take vengeance. Or you can choose to live like David. You can choose to live like Jesus, and you can show people grace and kindness. You can look at a negative situation, and you can say, I don't care. I'm going to do the right thing because I know what God calls me to do in this world. We have a choice to make. Every one of us. You're going to face these moments that are going to rock your world. And you might start to realize God might have you on a totally different path. Can you guys not play with those right now? Thanks. God might have you on a totally different path than what you had ever even thought of. For me, I thought when I was in high school, I'm going to go point A to point B, and it's going to be easy, And instead, I'll tell you what, God, he took me through some trials and some hard times, and he ended up taking me to point C. He took me in a direction I never would have guessed. But what I started to do when I faced these hard moments, instead of asking what I wanted, I started asking God, what do you want from my life? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? And I would challenge you, do that in your own life. When something bad happens, you can choose to be negative and get down about it and say, oh, great, the world's against me. All my dreams and my wants and my desires, they're not coming true the way I thought they would. And you can choose just to be negative and just be mad and angry about it. Or you can choose to start asking God, God, what do you want from my life? Some of you, you're facing those moments already. And you might have to face the reality that God doesn't want you to go over here to point B because he's got something way better for you down here at point C. So anytime you face a trial or something doesn't go the way you were hoping it would, start asking God, what are you teaching me in this moment? Where do you want me to go with my life? Now, some of you, it might be you're going to go point A to point B, and you're going to get there no matter what. You're going to fight through all the trials. But what are you going to do to get to point B? Are you going to do the right thing? Or are you going to sacrifice what you believe? Are you going to give up living the way God has called you to live because you think that might make it too hard to get to where you want to be, to get to your dreams, to get to all the things you've been hoping and wishing for? You have a plan in your mind for your life. God has a better one. I promise you. His plan is better than anything you can ever come up with. Start choosing to trust him. Choose to trust God. Choose to be positive. To not get down in those hard moments. To not let those moments bring you down, because that's exactly what Satan wants. And above all else, choose to do the right thing and trust that God will honor that God will reward you, whether it's in this life or the next. Trust that his way is better than your way. Let's pray. God, thank you for this group of students. Thank you for how you're working in their lives. And God, I know there's so many in here that are probably going through the same things I went through. They're probably mad and they're frustrated and they're angry that life isn't turning out exactly how they thought it would. But God, I pray that you'd give them strength to turn to you in those moments. And I pray that they would seek your wisdom. That they would be like David, that they would stand strong for what they believe in. They would stand strong for your word of truth, to keep living the way that you've called them to live, no matter what everyone else around them is saying, Lord. Because I know for David, it was hard in that moment. He had all those men telling him, just do this. Take the shortcut, take the easy way. But he stood strong, and God, I pray that we would have that same strength, every one of us in here. That we would stand for your truth and your way, your direction in our lives, even when it seems like nobody else around us will. We love you, God. In your name we pray. Amen.